Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I am your host for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu is a delicious grapefruit or wildberry vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at zambuliquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois, today's guests are the founders of SmartStart. Ladies and gents of Central Illinois, please welcome Marci Goodwin and Katie Kelly. Welcome to the show, gals. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you? Thanks for
Awesome.
having us.
My pleasure. I'm excited to learn a little more about each of your backgrounds. And I know you guys have an extensive history with small business, and that's pretty much the name of the game on the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. So it's right up our alley and our listeners' alley. But before we do, I'm going to take you both through our speed round questions to get to know you a little bit better.
Oh gosh, we're not nervous.
All right, Marci, I will start with you, and then Katie, you fill in after Marci, okay? All right, for each of you, what was your first concert?
I'm totally going to date myself. I was 15. It was the Rolling Stones at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And it was the Steel Wheels tour in the late 80s. So I'm old.
That's awesome. And Katie, what was your first concert?
My gosh, I can't even remember. I'm not much of a concert goer, as terrible as that sounds. We went to see, so it was late for me. It was like late in high school. We went to, I think we went to go see Cartel at Bradley.
Nice.
Ooh.
There you go.
Yeah. So random.
Perfect. All right, Marci, what is your favorite movie?
I'm not like Katie. She's not the concert goer. I like concerts, not a big movie person. But I have to say, I'm going to go with the cult classic, Princess Bride.
Fair enough.
Excellent choice.
Can't go wrong.
Good call. It's slightly embarrassing, but I'm proud of it. It's You've Got Mail. And now my name is Kathleen Kelly, which is the character's name, Meg Ryan. So,
oh wow,
I really feel like I
put that together.
That was quite a match. Yeah,
of my teenage.
Oh my gosh, I never even put that together.
See, now you each are learning something about each other today,
right?
too. So this is good. All right, Marci, favorite ice cream flavor?
Pistachio.
Nice. Katie?
Good one. That one's growing on me, but I have to go with mint chocolate chip.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Marci, what is your favorite social media platform?
Well, I have to say, probably personally, I like Instagram, but for business, I like LinkedIn.
Very nice. I agree. Or are you an iPhone or an Android user?
Android.
Oof.
Totally.
Okay. Fair enough.
Don't start with me, Derek. Don't start with me.
And last but not least, Marci, why Central Illinois?
Oh gosh. So I'm from the St. Louis area, actually.
Okay.
Moved up here after college, went to school in Milliken, Indicator. And it's close to family, of course, but cost of living. We have good friends. You've got a good mix of rural things to do and city things to do. So it's just got that good mix, and I can be in the city in a couple hours or
Awesome.
just escape in the country.
Very nice. So are you from the Illinois side on St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay. What town?
It's called Bunker Hill.
Bunker Hill. I'm familiar with it. I don't think I've ever been there, but I've heard of Bunker Hill.
Well, you don't pass through it. It's not on the way to anywhere.
Okay. Fair enough. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, guys. We got to learn a little bit more about you at this point. Marci, I'll hand the mic to you. And if you could tell our listeners and watchers if they're watching on YouTube, just tell us a little bit about your story, where you started, how you got to where you are now, anything in between that you want to share.
Oh gosh. Well, I started actually as a researcher at U of I. And so, but then when we moved, you have kids, we started a family business, and then that business led to another business, which led to another business. So here we are 20 years later. I found out as we were building businesses, my role got to be where I was helping a lot of other women entrepreneurs start their businesses. A lot of them wanted to stay at home, but like, how can I make money from home? So I was helping them with that. And then I was helping other small businesses that we knew, which basically kind of rolled up. So then when Katie started SmartStart, we just found a good way to partner up, and using, our both our backgrounds, and just kind of went together, and we both had the same goals of helping small businesses. So it was just perfect.
Awesome. Well, tell me just real quick before we get to Katie, tell me a little bit about SmartStart.
Okay, so SmartStart is a turnkey small business development program system service for communities, for chambers of commerce, for EDCs and municipalities who really want to help those local small business, those mom and pops, those emerging small businesses start, or maybe the ones that have started that need some help thriving, that we come along besides them. They probably don't have the bandwidth, the expertise or manpower to do that on their own. So that's where we come in, and then we provide our services, that we actually go in and we help start small businesses, match them up with local resources. We do. I know, Katie, if you want to jump in here and tell about, she's the mastermind behind. Everything's built around our SmartStart dashboard, which is an online platform, and then all the programming we do and entrepreneur engagement is based around that. And the dashboard is actually Katie's baby, her other baby, her first baby, and so I come on and I do the marketing, the programming with that.
Very nice. All right. So, Marci, SmartStart, if I'm a small business that is wanting some help or some direction, how would I go about starting to work with SmartStart?
So we found out that most communities have a local or regional resources like SBDC or SCORE or programs through their chamber, through their municipality. We found that most communities have those resources, but studies have shown that 61% of people who start businesses don't know that they exist because they're not marketed to the right people, or we found that the SBDCs and people just we thought everybody knew, right? And it's hard to reach the people because the entrepreneur now can be anyone. It can be someone, a mom at home. It could be a college student. It can be a senior citizen. It can be anyone. So it's hard to market to those people and reach those people. So what we do is we come into a community right now. So different chambers of commerces and municipalities will bring us on, and we become SmartStart, whatever your community is. Like right now, we're SmartStart Morton is our latest. And so at SmartStart Morton, the chamber and the EDC will start promoting us, but then we show up in the business community. We start having events, and we start having promotions, and we actually connect via social media and via email with the existing businesses. And we found out that once we start targeting those businesses, then other people come on board. We start having these events. Well, when we start, like I said, when you start targeting one kind of entrepreneur, then others will follow. So they come and they can jump right onto our platform. Our platform is built for, basically, it walks you through the steps of starting a business, just like you would at the SBDC or SCORE. But as entrepreneurs, we're kind of a DIY lot, and a lot of us don't want to go and just sit and, we're going to work with the SBDC and tell them all our business and walk through this process and with another person. We don't want to do that. We want to do it on our own. So it's kind of a DIY through the business model canvas. Okay. And not only is it, and you can walk through it at your own steps. There's 4 modules. You just answer simple questions. And what it does is creates a custom checklist that meets you wherever you are as a business owner. And like the things you have to do, I do need a business license. I need an accountant, or I need an insurance agent, or I need help with social media, or I don't. I've got those things, so I don't need those. So they're not going to show up on my checklist. Sure. And then the other part of that is, once you say, I need an insurance agent, I need an accountant, there are tons of them in your area. But the truth is, as you know, not all insurance agents, not all accountants want to work with small business or specialize in small business. So what we do, we come in and we vet all the insurance agents, all the accountants, all the website providers. We find out who specializes in small businesses. And so within that SmartStart dashboard, they can just click a button and there's a list of vetted providers that are already waiting for them. So they know when they go in, oh, all I need is an insurance agent. I'm gonna call Derek. So they know exactly who to call. So that's the dashboard part. And then we have monthly workshops that walk people through the dashboard. So each week, or each workshop is one part of the dashboard, and we walk people through. So we have people coming and going of all parts of the dashboard, but they all are getting to know each other. They're learning about their business, but then so we have the dashboard, and then we have the educational concept, and then possibly the most important is we are building a small business ecosystem within that small community. So in Morton, we're starting to see, and we did this in Muscatine, Iowa, we start to see there were businesses right down the street from each other who never knew each other. They never met. And now, because they knew, they're growing together, they're getting to know each other, they're getting to know each other. Like, for instance, one business owner, they didn't even know each other, but they just said, I said, does anyone has a need? And they said, I need a new point of sale system. This girl down the street, oh my gosh, I have one you are going to love. They not only started working together, like it's just helping, they now do sales together. They do events together. So we're building the small business ecosystem so that within that, they can start, I say this all the time, people are probably sick of it. A rising tide raises all ships. So we go in and we want, like, say, who can come in, who has this expertise within the community, and then they start to know each other, and they're like, oh, she's the point of sale queen, she's the social media queen, she's the inventory control queen. Like, we know who. They get to know this, and all those three parts is how we're really seeing small businesses grow within a community.
That's great. So it sounds like you are working specifically, not necessarily with just one single business. You're actually going into larger organizations and helping a group of businesses all at once.
Right.
Okay.
So we go into a community, and we're not contracted by businesses. So what is great about it, all of our services are free to the community.
Cool.
Because the EDC, the chamber, the county, the municipality, whoever it is that pays for our services, so they can offer it to the business owner for free.
Awesome.
And back to the whole SBDC and SCORE thing, they are actually, when you start walking through the dashboard, they are preferred providers as well. If you want somebody to walk you through step by step, send you to your local SBDC, your local SCORE, or if there's another organization. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not creating our own silo. I like to say we're giving momentum to the wheel that's already there. Like, we're a connector. We're just connecting all the dots.
So you're really, it's almost like a franchise deal where you are offering this process to business. Like you said, you can call it, SmartStart Morton, or SmartStart Peoria, whatever it happens to be.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a franchise system that you're offering to those businesses or that group's members. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everything, they get their own website, they get their own social media channels, they get their own email communication, all comes from SmartStart in the community.
Cool. Very cool. So you mentioned kind of how you start that process. Do you go there in person, or is it all online, or is it a mix of both?
So it's a mix of both. So we do, so right now we're doing everything within like 100-mile radius so that we can just go, so the platform, of course, is online, but we always, like, if someone, let's see, you're 20% along and you're going to get an email from me going, oh my gosh, how can I help you? You're stuck at 20%. Was it glitchy? Did you not like the question? Do you need help? And sometimes, you don't get anything. Other people are like, oh yeah, well, my kids got in the way, or can you help me? I really wasn't sure how to answer that. So we're very hands-on with it. And but then the programs are once a month. So then we actually show up in the community. We become part of the community. We usually will spend sometimes like a day there, walking through the businesses and getting to
Cool.
know the business owners so that we are a part of them. When we walk down the street in Muscatine, Iowa, people are like waving at us, Katie and Marci, like they invite us in. So yeah, it's Sam and Morton. It's just like we're getting to be part of the community, and eventually getting outside of Central Illinois, we won't be able to do that. And so we have plans to create more of us to do
Okay,
that.
cool.
How we're going. So we're working already on scaling plans. We have 3 more communities coming on board in the next couple months. And then
Awesome.
outside of that, like we're already having plans, as we say, for world domination.
Yeah.
But how many more communities can we help? Because as we talk to more people, it's just chambers of commerce are great for taking care of the businesses that are already there and helping them with business services. They're not good with like the nuts and bolts of small businesses. That's just not what they're there for. EDCs are for bringing in existing businesses and for big industries. Just not what they're built for. So we can come in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm looking at your the website here, and it looks like you have 4 phases set up for 4 phases for the business owners. So phase 1, and maybe you can give me the tutorial here. Maybe this is the tutorial we can kind of share a little bit with for our listeners. So phase 1 is customer development. Tell us a little bit about that phase and then how it rolls into phase 2, 3, and 4.
Oh gosh, I found this in my previous business when I was helping people. They were like, I need help with my social media. Well, or any kind of marketing. Well, the problem was they didn't know what they were selling and who they were selling to, which is basic customer development. The rest of your businesses, that's the very foundation of your business. If you don't know what you're selling, who you're selling to, I heard in one of your past conversations, and I can't remember who it was, and she was talking about marketing, and she really talked about getting that foundation down. You got to know who you're speaking to. You have to know that customer avatar. And that's basically what we're doing. We try to, we follow the business model canvas, a lot of, is it Steve Blank's videos that we link to? It's very practical about not only, I don't know, Katie, are you ready to talk yet? You can talk about a little bit. Katie's really good at explaining this and how like was the florist explanation that we always, the florist example we give people.
Yes. Oh, it's my favorite. Okay. So, and not only is this important for your marketing, and we found this is kind of how we have to start talking about it is marketing, but really customer development should be something you do before you register your business, before you buy your website domain and start putting it up. Because if you don't know who is going to buy your product or service, you might not even be using the right words, the right language, the right platform. You might not even need a website. So you might be spending money that is a very precious resource for something that's not going to work. So the example we always give is a florist. And, let's say you talk to them and you say, who are your customers? Well, a florist is going to say everybody loves flowers. Okay, true. But is everyone buying flowers from you every day? No. So let's think about who are your customer segments. Think of big buckets of people that you can reach that have something in common. You could have bereavement flowers, you could have bridal flowers, you could have event flowers, like for hotels or conferences or something. Those 3 groups are completely different. You will reach them in completely different ways. They will have completely different price points. Trying to go after all of them right when you start your business is going to be exhausting and probably not successful.
Yeah.
But let's say you pick one bucket. Let's pick bridal flowers. Weddings are huge. Well, even within bridal flowers, we then say, let's think about who are your personas, the avatar. Within brides, you could have your millennial bride who now is in their mid-30s and they have more important things to spend their money on. So they're doing a courthouse wedding. They're going to have a very small budget. They want simplistic and classic. You might have a younger bride who wants to be a princess and her parents are footing the bill, and it's going to be a botanical garden of flowers. Again, different audience. The millennial bride's probably going to be reached on a different channel than the Gen X or the Gen Z. So thinking through those differences really helps you understand who do you want to target. Then you can move on to your nuts and bolts, build out your financials, and think about your marketing.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
kind
know,
of how we portray customer development.
well, that's great because I say this all the time. So you probably are familiar with the CEO program where you're at, maybe in Peoria.
We don't have it yet. I've been
Okay.
stalking it everywhere and I want to learn
Okay.
more about it. So yes.
Okay. So for the listeners who don't know about CEO stands for Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities.
Cool.
And it's for high school juniors and seniors who want to get into business, either owning a business or have some type of a leadership role in business when they get out of school. So it is not a schoolroom class. It is held at businesses in the community. So I'm involved in the Shelby County CEO program. They have their class all over the county. So they have it at City Hall in Shelbyville. They have it at the Chamber of Commerce in Shelbyville. They've had it in Windsor at their library. And then they visit businesses all around the county just to learn what businesses do. And so as part of that program, the first semester, they have to start a class business where the class gets together and they all create a business together. And then they raise money through that business. And then second semester, they take the money that they earned in their class business and they create their own individual businesses. And they distribute that money out as seed money for their own individual business.
That's awesome.
So I am a mentor for the program and I see this happen every year. And I know it's easy because they're young and they want to do the flashy stuff, but
Right.
they always start with two things. They start with creating their logo and starting their social media pages.
Right.
And I always deter them from it. It doesn't matter how much you say not to do it. That's what they start with. I'm like, you've got to figure out who is your target market before you ever create a logo, develop a social media page, start
Absolutely.
communicating your product or service. It's like, you've got to figure out who you're talking to, because if you talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody. So you've
100%.
got to dial it in and worry about the logo, down the road. You can pay someone on $5 or $20 to create a logo in 10 minutes.
Right.
You just relax on the logo, create the business first and who you're going to sell it to, and then let's back into it. So it sounds exactly like what you guys are saying there.
Yes. Bingo.
Exactly.
You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You've just taken them through the first module.
There you go. I'll put together my master class and I'll send it to you guys to share with your
Right. We'll just
customers.
link to there now.
Awesome. So part 2, and it probably kind of rolls into 2, 3, and 4, but you have the nuts and bolts, determining your business structure. Then you move on to financials. So that sounds like it all comes before creating your marketing strategies. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So we recently uncoupled the phases. So in Peoria, it's a sequence. And you have to finish customer development before you can go to nuts and bolts and financials open up at the same time. And then when you're done with those, then you can do getting out there.
Cool.
For Morton, we are testing opening up all 4. So you can jump in at any time, because people are going to do what they're going to do. And if they're passionate and motivated, we don't want to stop them in their tracks. But that's why we have the workshops and why we encourage them to connect with local mentors who can kind of circle back to the first one.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, as far as if people progress more, or if they feel more excited about continuing, if they don't have to go through customer development, because that's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard it's basically testing your assumptions. And when you're really passionate about your business, no one can tell you that it's not going to work. It just makes you like double down, honestly.
Right.
I experienced that myself. So just wanted to add that little caveat. But so yes, we do think that proving out your business model and who is your first customer. I'm going to add that as a caveat too. Just because you might decide to start with Gen Z brides as a florist does not mean you can never move into the event space. It's just, that's who you should start with, so that you can build momentum, actually make money, so that you have more money to reinvest back in to grow your base, because you can't sell to everybody. So
Absolutely.
we do think you should do that first before you pay the $150, Illinois Secretary of State licensing fee. It might not be a lot of money, but it could be that, or a Zoom subscription, or a QuickBooks subscription. Sometimes you don't always have the ready cash.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you got to make choices with your limited resources.
Perfect.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in my line of business, I work mainly with business owners, obviously, and I see business owners come in on their different levels of their business. And
Mhm.
I see people who are just researching the market and they want to get an idea of what insurance is going to cost for them. And I see businesses who have been established for 30 years or even more than that. And one thing I want people to listen or understand that are listening that may be starting or just started or don't know where they're going, nobody knows where they're going. Nobody really understands where to start. Everybody thinks that people who are doing it now are experts and knew what they were doing before they started.
No, we're all
Yeah,
building the airplane while we're flying.
yeah,
That is the
exactly.
$1 million secret right there
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
just blew up.
Yep.
Nobody knows what they're doing, actually.
Right.
No one knows.
Right.
Everybody makes it up for at least a portion until they start to learn. You
And
have
then
to.
and then the market shifts and you have to pivot. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so now we're going to do this. We're going to learn it this way. We're going to market it this way. We're going to tweak our product. But we go back to the customer development. We figure out, okay, what does our customer really want? And what are they willing to pay?
Yep.
And now it goes back to that.
Exactly. And that's where, your program, the SmartStart program, comes into play for you listeners. If you have the opportunity to look at this, it breaks it down for you step by step.
Right.
At least that's what it seems like to me. I've not been through the program, but I'm looking at all the phases and what you both are saying, and it tells you exactly what you need to do. And there's no longer the mystery of, okay, what do I need to get a license? Do I have to go get an LLC? Do I have to hire an accountant, or can I do it myself? It'll kind of tell you the basics of what you need to know, so then you can take those tools and create your business with it. If you have the idea, it sounds like Katie and Marci will be able to help the idea come to fruition.
Right. We just want to give you, okay, here's all you need. And then we're going to link you to those resources you need when you need them, because not everybody needs everything all at once. And and if we're not in your community, we would love to be in your community. We would love to ask your Chamber of Commerce or your local EDC or whoever, like, can we get this? Because we would love everyone in Central Illinois to be on the same platform and doing the same thing. It would be like amazing for our region to just blow up small business and just have them, not just because there's been a ton of small businesses that have started over COVID. A lot of them have failed because they didn't have the right resource. They didn't know what they were doing, because nobody knows what they're doing.
Right.
So we would love to be able to come in. That is our goal, that no more businesses, that every business is going to thrive. What is that? They all, was it 50% of businesses fail after 5 years? We don't want that anymore. We want to up that. We want everyone to make it.
Awesome. So you kind of mentioned before your radius. So have you guys worked specifically with Central Illinois, maybe the Iowa neighboring states, and then you're planning on to expanding outside of that with maybe some clones of yourselves?
Yes. Yes. We have, so we are smart. We are a startup. We are a small business as well. So we are going through the same process that we are sending people through for the SmartStart dashboard. We are going through it. We go through it, and we are working with business coaches on how to, what's the next step? What's the scaling? What's that look like? And so it's very exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Marci, you mentioned earlier that the idea kind of started, and I think maybe Katie had some ideas, and then Marci, you came on with some marketing ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So our followers and listeners always like to hear about marketing. So what was it that you think sparked? What marketing did you use to get the word out about your program? And what do you feel was kind of the catalyst marketing wise to spread the word?
Well, actually, I'm going to let Katie handle this from her perspective, on what it was before, like what was needed, and then the things that we tried, and like I'm going to hear it from her perspective. Then I'll chime in. Does it well.
Okay, so like Marci said, we really practice what we preach. So as far as customer development and like that iteration, so firstly, the SmartStart dashboard, I'm going to take a step back before I answer your question. The SmartStart dashboard is a pivot from a different product that I first launched, which was a tool to help community members navigate the like social service network
Mhm.
So an individual who's experiencing homelessness or food insecurity, that process is very complicated and it's very organization centric. So tools and resources are for the provider agencies. They're not for the consumer.
Mhm.
We built that product. We launched it. ICC was a client. I think right before COVID, I'm actually blurring my timelines now. But as I was building that tool and learning, I realized the entrepreneur ecosystem it has the exact same challenges. As someone who was learning how to grow a business, I was sent all over the place. I was responsible for keeping my own notes and keeping track of my own referrals. I had binders full of random pieces of paper and phone numbers. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't have to go everywhere. These people's job is to help me. They should help me. They should come to me. My information should be mine and it should go with me. I shouldn't have to tell my story 15 times. So we pivoted the platform to the SmartStart dashboard, first of all. Second of all, as learning about the business, we realized we have a two-sided market. It's really important to me that we are not a B2C company. We are not business to consumer. I think that all these organizations that exist, SBDC, the Chamber, SCORE, EDC, they receive millions of dollars. Their job is to help small businesses. So I believe that they should subsidize tools like ours for business owners who are just getting started, who don't have the capital to pay for a coach. So we sell to local governments and like nonprofit organizations, but our users are small business owners. That means we have two different types of marketing. See how I was bringing it around to marketing?
There you go.
I need to do better, Ernie.
Yes. So, for example, to reach our first customer in Muscatine, we leverage networking, professional relationships in the community, who knew who, trusted our reputation. We wrote a grant. We received the funding to begin an experiment. When you're a B2B company, that professional networking is worth its weight in gold, even more than, for example, investing in a social media strategy. Because the people you're trying to reach are getting bombarded by proposals, their inbox is overwhelming, and they're not necessarily looking for services on their social media. On their social media, they're people. Or if they're professionally on social media, they're trying to be content experts. That's not necessarily where they shop. So that networking, going to conferences, leveraging your network, in-person communication was huge. Once we were in Muscatine, our job was to bring small business owners out of the woodwork. These people that are really hard to reach, they don't open the newsletters, they don't follow the chamber on social media, they are just running their business day to day and they're going home to their family. For them, we needed very specific, targeted, I would say kind of new social media engagement as marketing. So Marci goes out and she finds them on social media. Then she follows them. Then she reshares their posts and she blasts it across the community. Look how amazing they are. Then they DM her and go, oh my gosh, thank you for noticing. Suddenly there's a relationship. That is way more effective than traditional social media marketing where you're putting out an ad and you have a target geographic area that says, I'm going to try to reach people who are going to the library and Googling how to start a business. We get very little leads. We tried that.
Yep.
Didn't really get a lot of success. In fact, our first year working in Morton, that's all the marketing that we did. We had very little success until we brought Marci on last fall, and she executed this social media engagement.
Awesome.
So it's a learning process. There's a ton of different strategies, but it's really think about who your customer is. Don't get sucked into this propaganda that to be a successful business, you have to be like the social media influencer. That's not good marketing for all businesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time on that in our workshops.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, Marci, it sounds like I was one of the people that we used that tactic on. I think you sent me a direct message, and that's how we kind of got connected on LinkedIn.
It was.
if
Well, I
remember
love your
right.
podcast. I'm like, we are
Thank you.
working, we are pulling on the same rope. We are we are the rising tide, they're raising the ship. So I thought we are like-minded. We need to get together, and so that's just
That's
how,
awesome.
that's
Perfect.
that networking. That's how that works.
I like it. Well, so listeners, if you didn't catch that tip, that's a very, very useful tip for your business. It does not matter what your business is. If you have clients that you work with, you can use this on social media. So what Katie mentioned was Marci will go onto social media, find a target customer that she would like to work with, provide value to them through social media by sharing their posts, blasting their information, sharing their value with her audience. And then that sparks the conversation of, hey, thanks for doing that. So that costs $0. I'm sure, Marci, there's no money involved in
Nope.
sharing someone's post. It is something that you could do. You could take 15 seconds, find your target person on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever happens to be, share a post of theirs, and now you're on their radar, or they're on your radar, or vice versa. So
yes, I cannot stress that enough. Like, resist the urge to DM as a salesperson as your first step. And that is also customer development, by the way. You just need to get to know who your target customer is first, provide them value, everyone loves to be asked their opinion. Ask them a question about what they like, about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Then down the road, you can pitch a sale.
Then you can invite them in. I don't like to say pitch the sale. Like, then you can invite them into your world after you've shown given value into their world. Then you can invite them into yours. But you just want to be invited to.
But you know how that feels. It feels like spam when you get a sales message in your DMs. You ignore it.
Right.
Yep.
Welcome to LinkedIn.
And you may have burned a bridge.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. You know that I don't know how many of those. So one thing that I have considered doing on my LinkedIn profile is taking off the fact that I'm a podcast host, because I get no less than 4 inquiries from Apple experts or Spotify experts every day. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Can we boost your sales?
Day.
Can we boost your reach? Can we?
Yeah.
Are you looking for this?
Exactly. So
if I was, I'd come find you. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, so I think that's a really good topic to leave off on. We're actually getting close to the 30-minute mark. Before we jump off of here, though, Marci and Katie, can you tell us if there's someone listening on the show, or if they want to learn more about you, how can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
You want to go, Kate?
Sure. I would say SmartStart, Small Business Development Services on LinkedIn is probably the best, most direct way to find us. If you just want to kind of get a feel for who we are first, you can follow SmartStart Morton on Facebook and Instagram. That's a great example, and Marci is very active there. Or you can go to welcome.smartstartdashboard.com. It is a mouthful. And we have you can message us directly from the website.
Right.
That will come to me.
Yeah. Follow me on LinkedIn, Marci Goodwin, Kathleen Kelly, and ask us questions. We would love to answer your small business questions. And if you have any questions like how can you bring SmartStart to your community, we would love to talk to you about that. But probably LinkedIn is probably the best way to get a hold of us.
Excellent. And last question, I won't make you on the show say exactly how much it costs. I know it's probably a moving target, but is it usually charged like per member that the person has, or per business that they have in their network? How do you usually arrange that?
It's a great question. Again, as small business owners, putting together your pricing model is a moving target. We actually now go kind of on value-based pricing, which especially for female entrepreneurs is a very difficult thing to do. Mm-hmm. That could be a whole podcast on its own.
There you go.
But it's sort of a flat annual license cost for the SmartStart dashboard, plus value-based pricing for the SmartStart programming that we bring to the community. It does scale somewhat by community size, but at the end of the day, we're bringing the same energy to each community, whether you're a $200,000 community or 200,000 person community or a 5,000 person town.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Well, for all you listeners out there, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, please leave us a review. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can also find us on social media, mainly Facebook and LinkedIn. You can connect with myself and Garrett there personally as well. Until next time, Marci, Katie, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for coming on the show.
Derek.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL Podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.